Yo, what's good, everyone? How's everyone doing? I imagine you guys are doing well, having an amazing day, amazing time. Um, I imagine you guys are all enjoying your weekend. It is 9:11 p.m. here in Utah, um, you know, and as always, with me here today is Matthew. Give me just one sec, set this whole thing up. Boom, and cool. Cool. Yeah. So as always, Matthew, welcome, brother. How you doing today?
What's up? What's up? Doing well. Super grateful to be here. It's good, everybody.
Is the music good, bro? Can you hear it?
No.
No, you can't hear the tunes.
Mm-mm.
Huh. Oh well, duh, because I'm not sharing sound. Cool. How about now?
Barely. I can hear a little bit now.
Okay, cool.
Mm-hmm.
All right, but so and welcome everyone. Today's our Q&A, and boy, do I got one for you, brother. So before we start, just want to say welcome to everyone for another episode of Beyond Your Beliefs. Here we are pushing you guys boundaries, belief boundaries, and comfort zones, and any aspect of which you may believe shapes your current reality. And we're pushing you guys beyond that reality into a new set of beliefs. And that's the whole goal of this podcast slash series that myself and Matthew have been doing. So I actually got a pretty interesting comment this past week that I wanted to share with you guys. And I feel like this one's gonna be like the main squeeze, but I got two questions throughout the week for this. And the first one is, and I want to share this one with you. I'm gonna read it right off the message, okay? So this individual was asking me, how can I overcome my fear? I'm a very disciplined. I find myself to be a very disciplined individual in aspects of life. I don't have a problem being disciplined. I do sports. I implement fasting. I meditate. I read books. I apply myself daily to these things. Unfortunately, with my trading, I have problems, and not seeing results is very frustrating. Okay, I've been trading for 2 years and a half, and I'm determined to become a consistently profitable trader like yourself. But right now, I'm quite down. Quite honestly, it's hard to do keep pushing forward and remaining to be motivated without getting any results. So I thought that was a good one. You know, the individual asked to stay anonymous, which I'll keep it that way as well. I don't have a problem with that. So first, I just want to say thank you so much for taking the time to send us this message. It is super cool that you're experiencing those things, and I know it may not be cool right now to you, or maybe not be like the most enticing or exciting thing, but when it comes to trading, I feel like where you're at right now, when you're figuring out like all your daily rituals, and you're figuring out how you like your day to day to lay out, how to refuel your energy and and how to like recompose yourself. Okay, I feel like everything that you're doing to adding discipline outside of trading is very good, and now how you do anything is how you do everything. I strongly feel like you will attract this discipline into your trading, given the fact that you are disciplined in other aspects of your life. Um, One of the things I would say that is very frustrating to everybody, and I feel like this is for everyone. Um, I'm gonna share this with you guys real quick. Let's see. Okay, can you guys see my whiteboard? Cool. So I'm gonna draw Actually, let me go back real quick. Let me just draw something real quick. I wanted to show you that came to mind right away when I was seeing this. And so this is going to be a chart, okay? And here we're going to put your efforts and energy that you're putting into this. Okay, so I'm gonna put your efforts over here, and now we're gonna get over here is gonna be your results. And actually, let me switch these around. Here's gonna be your results, and here's gonna be your efforts and energy that you're going to be putting into this. Okay. Actually, let's replace this actually with time. How much time you're devoting into this, because I feel like wouldn't you agree, Matthew? That's probably like one of the biggest frustrations that traders have is, don't you hear this all the time? It's like, I've been doing this for so and so long and I'm still not seeing results. It's almost always what is being brought up. So we have the two things that I feel like the most common things that people are looking for is to the time that they put in aren't equaling out to the results that they see. Okay, so we're going to be looking here. We're going to be starting this first line that I'm going to be drawing out. Okay, is going to be how much time, effort you're putting into this. Okay, and so as you can see, we're scaling up, we're slowly moving in, and as you do more and more every day, that compounds and compounds over the time, and essentially you keep adding on that daily effort. Every day you're adding on. Now here's something that a lot of people don't see is the following. Okay, at first you may be one of those people that at first see those results, right? So at first you get excited and you see those results. That's what reels you in, is you see people getting results, you see other individuals getting results. You yourself can apply yourself to this information and get results. Now here's where we start diving in. Now the more you dive into this concept, the more you dive into your business, the more you dive into whatever it is that you're devoting your time to, the results for that skill set are not immediate. Okay. And so a lot of people, what we look for is immediate satisfaction, right? And so what happens is eventually our results start undermining our time that we devote into this, right? And so our results start looking a little bit low. But here's what happens over time is, like, for a really long period of your career, you may not see those results, but in the end, what you're going to notice is, if you can push through this period of your career, eventually your results will outdo how much time you have to put into your craft, into your day-to-day, right? And so it's really dependent on how long you spend and devote being in here. It's how long you're in this period, in this phase, is 100% determined by you. But this is the period, this is the phase, this is the area and zone and time that people, will be about right here in their career and devoting time, and then they just give up, right? Not understanding that they're so close to, with the consistency that they have already, so close to the results, outdoing and outperforming how much time they actually have to keep adding on to this. So anyways, I just wanted to share that with you guys, because I'm a visual learner, so that right there always helps me. That's how I see it, at least. Like, a lot of the times, I know it may seem like, man, I'm just not getting them results, but it's always at first, it's just like those results will eventually outperform the time that you do put into this, like, out substantially. Matthew, what is your average time that you spend on the charts
A day.
a day?
Spent about 4.
About 4.
Like yeah, like actively looking at charts. In the AM, which is 5:30 a.m. my time, all the way till about 8:30 a.m. my time, and then around this time, around 10 p.m., before London, like I look at it again for about an hour. So minimum, I'd say from anywhere from 4 to like 8 hours, because obviously I have one-on-ones throughout the day and like a lot of other things. But I always catch myself just on average anywhere I am, like it's like a habit, you just look at charts. You just look at charts anywhere. They could be
Yeah.
anywhere. Like honestly, I look at my desk. I guess I'm talking about desk time, but you'll notice a lot of times in the chat, I'll send screenshots from my phone because I'll be somewhere else. But like, I don't know. I'm just always looking at the charts, but obviously I'm not on charts 24/7. Um, but I'd say on average, 4 to 6 hours a day.
Okay, so 4 to 6 hours a day. Have you done this consistently for the past, say, 2 to 3 years?
Yeah, it's been about 5 years now.
And
But it used to be like 12 to 16 hours a day. At least there were years where it was that, because obviously it's like you said, over after a certain period of time, you get the results sooner than like the amount of time that it takes than it did in the beginning.
it's true. I mean, and it goes back to you have to make up in numbers where you lack in skill. So you have to make up in time numbers. So if you were talking about sales, like the average, let's say the average salesman is doing, out of every 10 calls, they're doing one sell, 1 or 2 sales, right? At first, I remember when I started doing sales, man, like that was not my numbers. Like it was like every 20 calls I was getting a sell. And this was like my first, sales job. And I remember I was selling for Adobe, and um it was super slow for me, but I remember I was putting in overtime. I was there longer than anybody. I was getting there earlier than anybody else. I was staying there later than everybody else. I was putting in hours, and then I was eventually essentially um making it up on the boards, actually on the top boards for sales. And I was just out working everybody in numbers, because numbers don't lie. That's the reality of it. I noticed that for every 20 calls, I would get 1 sell. So therefore, I gotta be there twice as long as the guy that does 1 for every 10. But I'm here putting in numbers, and pushing in numbers, because I have to make up in numbers where I lack in skill. Now, this is something that I was talking to one of my students actually as well. How much time is too much time? Like, how do you know when you're overdoing it? Would you say, Matthew?
I would say when you allow that thing to have power over your decisions, when you kind of feel like that thing is, it kind of takes takes control of your emotions, takes control of your willpower, and it pretty much just, it plays with you. You know what I mean? Like you're making emotional decisions. I said when it comes to trading specifically, again, I can only really speak on trading, but I feel like that applies with many other things.
Yeah, facts.
Like for sure. So, and yeah, I do notice that. I don't know why it keeps like blurring in and out for some reason. It never did that before. I haven't changed anything since the last session, so it's pretty.
Yeah, I think it's just because your room's darker. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
But I 100% agree with you, bro. Like 100%. I think honestly, when you have to find a balance, okay, you have to definitely find the balance. I've been in situations where, I remember, I don't know if you guys ever traded options, okay, but when I first got into option trading, I was probably overdoing it quite a bit. I mean, I was, binary options, for those of you who don't know, is like seconds. Well, for me, I was doing second trades, like time contracts that expired after a certain amount of time. I was doing like 1 minute to 2 minute contracts. And I remember I would really overdo it sometimes. Like I would be pulling it like 20, 40 times a day. And I what was really I think what was really hurtful was that there was days where I made a lot of money. And it's crazy because when you don't do what you know you should be doing, but you get positive results, it's probably more toxic to do that than it is to not follow what you're doing and not get the results, because then therefore like you go back and reflect on what you did incorrectly. As to is like when you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing and you do get results, like for example like how I was over trading and I was getting some results some days, um it would fake me to believe that I was like doing the right thing. Like it would entice me to continue to do what I was doing. And so, to find consistency, I truly believe that the way to find consistency is to look at yourself more as in look at your trade more as in this isn't something that's going to make me money, but this is something that's going to help me accumulate capital that will increase over the period of time and compound slowly. And so when I stopped putting an expectation on my trades or an expectation of receiving something out of it, it took a big piece and stress out of my trading, and I found more consistency, and I found myself doing a lot less. So I think something that a really good thing to add to your plan, if you're not doing this already, is um because and this goes to longevity. Okay, something to add to your plan is how long term are you in this? Like what is your, if you're looking to go trading or being in this business or your business, whatever field that you're in, for the next 5 to 10 years, why is it so frustrating that for the first 1 to 2 years of that there's no results? If you're wanting to be in your business for the long run, we're talking about 10, 20 years now, why would it be so frustrating to have to sacrifice, 2 to 4 years of that learning, investing in yourself, in your growth, if it will equal out to, 12, 8 to 12 years of results, consistent results, and not having to devote so much time into it? So that's just how I see it. I'm like, man, yeah, I may not be having the easiest time, but it's definitely getting, like, I may not be having like the most simple, like easygoing trading or anything like that, but it's definitely getting easier over time. It's definitely getting clearer to me over time. Daily application, I feel like, has been the biggest blessing in my life. Is maybe I'm still afraid for the next trade outcome or for the next down day. But that fear is something that I can relate to excitement, because I'm also excited for the outcome of the next trade. I'm also excited for, I don't know if you can relate to this, Matthew, but do you ever feel like fear and excitement are somewhat similar states of mind? Like when you're in a roller coaster, there's you the individual that is scared and the individual that is excited are probably running on the very similar like state of mind. Like they're running on a very similar vibration. Like the fear is in a way excitement. It's like a negative way of feeling excited about what's coming,
Hmm.
right? And so I don't know if that's this is something that you can relate to, but when I feel fearful or something that's shifted in my mind is now I go from a state of fear, as in like I am afraid of the next trade, but I tell myself in that spot, it's like, but I'm also excited to see the outcome of this trade. I'm excited to see my level of accuracy increasing. I'm excited to see if I'm improving as a trader, as an individual, as a business owner, or if I'm needing more work and where I need more work. So either way, it's like an exciting outcome, right? I don't know if you have anything to add to that.
Yeah, I feel like when it comes to looking forward to things, and I definitely agree with what you said, as fear and excitement kind of being operating off of the same thing, because I feel like that has an you have an expectation when you have, excitement or fear. It's like something that's going to happen in the future. Like you're looking forward to it, anxious, whether it's in a good or, a positive or negative way, whatever it is. Um, and then like as it plays out, I feel like it's kind of like an unavoidable thing, when you're operating from that, because expectations kind of it leads you to reality, right? And you find out, and based on that individual's perceptions, like you either have disappointment because there's the difference, the gap in between expectations and the reality, or it's like you have no expectations, but again, like you said, you're looking forward to like it actually happening. Like, oh, like I'm looking forward to see how it plays out. I'm looking forward to see how this experience can contribute to my growth, how it can get me closer to where it is I want to be, and all these things. So I feel like it's putting that best foot forward, like that excitement and that fear, like yeah, like you step into it. That's the thing, is most people want to avoid that, and like that keeps them in the same place from not experiencing that. So I feel like feeling those things are completely 100% normal, and that's why I always say, my favorite thing to say is like, there's only one way to find out. It's like especially when it comes to trading, it's like there's only one way to find out. I'm either gonna participate and experience it, or I'm gonna, observe it on the sidelines. But still, at the end of the day, it's like there's only one way to find out. So I feel like I'd rather be a part of it than like watch it go by and be like, I wish I would have. Because just like many scary things or things that we may be fearful or excited about, it's like, man, like I'm so nervous to do this thing, but like I'm very confident in it at the same time, and like I know it's gonna get me towards a really positive experience. And it's like you just send it, and like maybe it's like me and Bash were talking about snowboarding lately, saying how we got to practice before this next boot camp that we do. And it's like, maybe just like dropping in on a skateboard or like riding your bike. Like there's been times where like I'm like, well, I'm really looking forward to this. Like it's gonna be dope, and like, maybe like I fall or something happens, but it's like you weren't like expecting that, but still like you're open and you're aware that anything could happen. So when you kind of allow yourself to understand that anything could happen, then nothing could really hurt you, even if it does, right? Like it kind of like you don't allow it to get you in that depressed state, because depression is really like anger turned inwards. So as long as that the reality after your excitement or after your fear or your expectation, as long as you don't allow that to register too much and to like bring you down like long term, or you know what I mean? They say if it doesn't matter, in 5 years, don't spend more than 5 minutes. But obviously if it's physical stuff, then like yeah, that could have a long-term effect. Obviously trading takes a mental toll. It's something that it's very serious, like it's real. Like trading will take like a toll on your mental, and it really is. I feel like it makes you stronger along the way, so I feel like these things are powerful, because stepping into that fear and having that excitement, yeah, it does open you up to allow yourself to get exposed, and like things can get taken from you. But again, it's like you learn how to get stronger through those experiences. So I feel like that's the beauty of it, is like on the opposite end of that is you get stronger and you gain more wisdom through experience, so
the man who loves the destination, the man who loves the walk will make it further than the man who loves the destination.
Facts.
Because when you enjoy the walk, your way to your destination, it doesn't matter where you're going. Like, it's just the fact that you love doing it, like getting it. It's like you never, it's about being excited, not about the results, not about the profits, but about learning how to get it, like getting it, like getting. I feel like you're never really done getting it. You know, like when people say, and this is back goes back to KD. Like when people say, like I got it, I'm like, ah, man. You know, like right away, I'm like, ah, okay. So here we go. You know, we throw it back to the basics. Like you don't know what you don't know, right? And so we throw it back to the basics and bring it back and realize like you're never really done getting it. Like you never finish. You never just got it. It's like the moment you think you got it, you're so much further away than actually getting it.
Mm.
And so the more you put yourself in a getting it situation, and instead of filling your cup with I got it, with a bunch of I got it moments, like I don't know, like I feel immediate satisfaction is such an addictive drug that it is the root cause of your I got it moments, because you're clearly looking for things that you may be good at, that you may find easy already to do, that you may find easy or pleasurable to do, or it brings you some level of immediate satisfaction. And so that high of chasing that immediate results, the immediate satisfaction, the immediate gratification, self gratification, can be a very toxic trait. I think that high can be very addictive. It can be very nice and good for that moment, but at the end of the day, what's gonna keep you happiest throughout the long run is the journey and the process there. If you're not enjoying, so it really hurts me, honestly. I think one of the most painful things that I do see is when individuals are so lost in, they're so fixated on the destination, they're so fixated on would they see, for example, successful business owners doing it, and they feel that emotion of success, that they desire, that they want that level of success. And so when you don't fill that cup with action, your body, your consciousness will feel an impulse to go looking for things to fill that cup and void with. And those things are usually easy things to do, very immediate gratification, right? And so avoid leaving yourself in that situation. Find something or that thing that you want to go through with it, and find a process that you enjoy, a daily routine that, because I'm not saying like you have to follow A, B, C, D. No, I'm not saying you got to follow every day the same thing all the time and step by step this is how you do it. But find the step by step that works for you. Find the step by step that's easy for you to do and follow it on a day to day basis. That's gonna add consistency to your progress. That's gonna add, more joy to your day to day. Because at the end of the day, what gets you to your destination is these very, very small wins. As an example for a small win for me is getting up in the morning and brushing my teeth. First thing. That's I guess not even a small win. That's a big win for me. One of the best things that you can do when you wake up, and if this is a trick that I learned from Neno a long time ago. I'm saying like 2-3 years ago. Okay, man's really changed the game for me. When you wake up, for those people who have a hard time waking up in the morning, when you wake up early in the morning and you first hear an alarm, don't even give it a second thought. Jump out of bed and go brush your teeth. Go brush your teeth, and I promise you, by the end of you brushing your teeth, you'll feel much more refreshed. You'll be already looking in the mirror. You'll have light, water already. You'll already taste, see, feel, right? And then start playing some audio on the background. Now you have all your senses that you can hear, sense, see, touch, feel, hear. I think I skipped one, but you guys get the point, right? Like, and just get up in the morning and just find those things that really work for you, like that makes sense to you, and get rid of what doesn't, right? Like get rid of all that stuff because maybe okay, maybe we're like getting a reading, meditating, doing all this stuff is not something that you're used to doing, not something that you want to start doing. Okay, cool. You don't have to do all those things that will essentially, those positive actions, those daily affirmations and positive actions that you have to take every day, or that people say that you need to take every day. Maybe you don't need to get to that extent yet, but avoid putting yourself in a situation where you're consistently chasing that immediate gratification, where you're consistently avoid putting yourself in a situation. So a way to avoid that is by knowing what you're going to do, knowing what you're going to do with your day, what you're going to do with your week, having these goals, these small goals, setting, these small wins, right? My second win for the day is making it to my desk by 7 a.m. my time, which is 9 a.m. Eastern. That's my second win for the day. I like to have 3 wins a day. Okay, if I get my 3 wins a day, that's a level of fulfillment for me. That's me looking for small wins, joyful things to be happy about the process of what I'm doing now. Finding small things to be grateful for in my day-to-day actions that I'm taking right now. Because a lot of the times we take for granted how much we get done every day, right? Do you ever feel like man, like you look back and you're like, damn, man, I get done a lot. Like you get down, like you get it done. You know what I mean?
I feel like back to like, well, it all goes together. If we were talking about the teachability index, and kind of when people start to get a little taste of like the things that they've desired,
Yeah.
and like it reminds me of the beginning of the chart that you show, where it's like get results, and then teachability index goes down, which means everything else comes down with it. I feel like that's the beautiful thing as well. It's like when like years from now, as we progress and as we continue to experience the things we've always wanted to experience, by enjoying the process and understanding that there's levels, and that each part of the journey is like we're learning new things and applying new things and experiencing new things, and it's like give and take. I feel like it makes you really appreciate it more, when you know exactly like what you went through to really experience those things. And I feel like that's why, like, again, I said this on the last one, maybe I said it on the mindset call that we did last Monday for ACTG, was like it really just comes down to your patience, like when you have nothing, and then like your humility when you feel like you have everything, right? Like, because that's what'll allow you to continue to grow, is like your patience even wherever you are, and then your humility wherever you are, because there's someone who may be where you are, or there's always someone where you were, where you are, and where it is you want to be. So it's like in the grand scheme, like we're just in the middle of it all, like we're just participating. So there's always something to learn from each situation. I feel like that's a trap. It really is a trap to like, yes, like we see ourselves as super successful, like everyone has their own perceptions of themselves, and all of these things, but you and God, the universe, like whatever it is, you believe in and you see as like just truth, like only you really know like what you're actually doing, like at the end of the day, what you did. And I feel like that allows you to have confidence, and that allows you to really actually, like when if you're truly doing what you feel like you're doing enough or as much as you can to get closer to where it is you want to be, you will be okay throughout that process. I feel like it's a fluctuation of emotions, right? Like I'm doing so much work and like why am I not experiencing like what I want to experience. But there's this thing that I saw today. Um, oh, I think I'm still on it actually. Who was it? Um, oh man, it was this football coach talking to these kids. I don't know if it was on your story or it was on someone else's story, but it was this coach talking to these kids, and then it said like lazy people do no work or and wonder why they're not successful, and like successful people work as hard as they can, and they worry about if they're being lazy, like you sort of like that's a trait that I believe it was Alex Ramosi. He did he was talking about certain traits that some of the highest successful people in each part of their field have, and it's like they have a level of worrying if they're even doing enough, even though they're doing so much. Is they're like, fuck, like am I doing enough? Even though they're in reality, they're doing way more than others. So I feel like
Yeah.
that's a good question to like, if you have that question, like that's a good sign that you actually are, but you are continuously looking to do more. When in reality, most like you don't really have time to worry or complain about where you are if you're so focused on getting there. You know what I mean? Because you're actually
Yeah.
doing things, and that's a place where I found myself a few times where it's like, well, I've been doing this for X amount of time, but it's like, well, how many times have you been doing it a proper way? You know what I mean? Like anybody could do something for a certain amount of time, but you could be doing it the wrong way for a certain amount of time. But like once you do it the right way, then that's where like it gets there. So that's why like having the system and following it is so important. But yeah, I feel like it really just comes down to, okay, once you have that system and you're actually following that system, is your patience throughout the process and your humility when you start to actually get some results. That'll keep you on the upwards trend, is how I see it. So patience and
It's
humility.
it's crazy how much, like there's a it's crazy how time is such an illusion, because when you feel like you spent and devoted so much time into something, you find some level of entitlement to a result. And it's something that we've been trained to do, we've been trained for our whole lives, to at a job, for example, or at school. When you devote a certain amount of time into something, you get something back,
Right.
right? And so it in a way, we've been programmed to feel some level of entitlement to a result, or for something to happen, out of the amount of time that you put into it. Because but the thing is like I'm saying, it's like time, like Matthew just said, time to me, time is such an illusion, because I can tell you that I've been trading for over 3 years now. But was I trading accordingly, like how I mentioned earlier? Pulling the trigger 20 to 40 times is not healthy, like in one day. Like in the way that I trade today, it was such a toxic trait, and I did that for like a good 6 to a year at least. But I'm not talking about like how long it took me. It's like if I crunched down that whole time that I did it throughout my trading career, it would be a full like year to a year and a half of me just pulling the trigger in areas in which I was expecting money to come, be the result. And I was expecting, I'm devoting this much time, this much money. I'm now entitled to some level of result, some level of knowledge, or some level of breakthrough, right? And so time is your biggest illusion,
Mm.
because one, you it can make you feel entitled to things um out of previous experiences, some level of entitlement, because you've devoted some of your time. But the reality of it is, like, how long have you been putting like the quality of work that you're putting in today? And and even today, are we truly putting in the quality of work that is needed to get us to where we need to go? Because the reality is like we're still all learning how to do what it is what we're doing, and how we're going to get to where we want to go. It's a learning process. And so in trading, it's beautiful because I spent a year and a half doing the incorrect things, but now I've put in 10,000 incorrect ways to put in a trade. Now have had those 10,000 incorrect ways of trading, of decision making, of business decisions, of mistakes, have taught me what not to do, how not to react, what not to expose myself to. And so now, again, going back to time is an illusion. Time is an illusion, as in, I can say I've been doing this for 3 years, but I was part-time for the first 2 years, full-time the last year, and some change. And now the biggest illusion that's hit me now as a trader, or as somebody that has found more profitability in their trading, the biggest reality check that's hit me now is time is still my biggest illusion, because now it's not so much that how much time I put in, but how much time I am entitled to having left, because we don't know when that sand clock is running out. That's the reality of it. Like, are you doing everything today? Are you doing everything the most that you can today, knowing that tomorrow is not guaranteed, understanding that the way that you ended today, what you did today, everything that you've done today from the morning to the end, is it enough to fulfill your cup, to fulfill you with gratitude, with some level of fulfillment towards your goals? Because today could be the very last time that I personally could be getting closer to my goals. Today could have been the last chance for me to do that. And so if my time were to be running out tomorrow, did I do everything today? And did I do everything that I could today to push me to where I need to be tomorrow? Did I do everything I can now, that I do have the time, freedom, and space, energy, income? Am I doing everything I can now with the resources that I have now to get me to where I want to go? Because again, throwing it back, time's your biggest illusion.
Yeah, I feel like the time, like this is something that, you know, getting introduced to over time really just shifted that. Is like the time is always now. Like it'll always be now.
Wow.
Like
I love that.
the past is, can't really go back there. The future has happened, but like the time, you know, everybody's always waiting for like the perfect time to do something. Like, the time is always now. It'll
Yeah.
always be now. Like if you wait 5 years to do something, when you do that thing, it'll be now, right?
Yeah.
It'll always be now. So I truly am a firm believer in that. Time is an illusion, and like it's a construct and all these things, because it really just comes down to decision making and action, and that's what it is. So I feel like what helps along the way is literally, like, you've heard this so many times of us, enjoy the process, but like fall in love with the process. Like you really have to treat it like it's your child, you know, like your business is your child, and your trading is so important to you, just like your significant other, just like your family. And that's why they say like how you do anything is how you do everything, because the way you treat certain things will spew into other parts of your life, to where you're like, wow, this really means a lot to me. Like I'm gonna make sure like I spend quality time with it, not just time there, but like quality time. It goes back to what Bash is saying. What we're saying is anybody could do things for a certain period of time, but it's like successful individuals right there. Anybody could trade, but successful, consistently profitable professional traders do things a certain way. So it's having that process and doing things a certain way, but enjoying that process, right? Living in the now, where it's like, okay, because so many, again, like I said, so many people may feel entitled because they've been doing something at a certain time. But I've met so many people who, within their first few months of trading, get funded and start withdrawing. And it's just because they actually apply themselves in the process. It's not to make anybody like discouraged or anything, because again, we don't compare it. Comparison is the thief of joy. If you compare yourself to anybody else and what they've done, you're robbing yourself of your own enjoyment of your process, of your journey, because everything is unique. Everything grows differently. Like,
Yeah.
a bush outside grows differently than a bamboo tree. You know what I mean? And like maybe you're a bamboo tree, and like someone's like a cat. Like everything just takes different time. I'm not gonna go into all these plants. Everything just takes different time, amount of time to grow. So it's understanding that your journey is unique. And again, we talk about this all the time, right? You may be experiencing something over and over again because there's a lesson in there that you just haven't really got yet. There's a
Yeah.
lesson where we may be experiencing certain things over and over because there's something that we're not aware of, right? It's a lack of awareness of something, or of just changing the way we do certain things. Because when we change the way we do things, like everything changes. Or it's like we change the way we see things, the things we look at like start to change, like all of these things. So it's the process, like it's doing the thing. Oh my god, look at, so I was watching this thing. If you guys don't know who Alex Hormozy is, I was watching this thing. He did a talk. He's considered like a level 7 entrepreneur at the thing he was talking at. It's like this 55-minute audio on YouTube, but I'm actually going to play this really quick because I think this is so powerful. I have it right here. He said this on the talk. Ooh, I do have it. Let's go. All right, let's see if you can hear it.
The output of the work, then I think it will help a lot of people get through some of the harder times. It did for me. And so some of the sayings that I have in my community are do the boring work and outwork yourself down. Because conviction doesn't come from positive affirmation in the mirror. It comes from having done something so many fucking times that you're bored of.
Wow, someone just had to text me right now.
The output of the work, then I think it will help a lot of people get through some of the harder times.
You can hear it, right?
It did for me.
It's getting pretty low.
Some of the sayings that I have in my community are do the boring work and outwork yourself down. Because conviction doesn't come from positive affirmations in the mirror. It comes from having done something so many fucking times that you're bored of it. Because it's like, well, obviously this is how you sell. Obviously this is how you scale a sales team. Because you've done it so many times. And I was on a podcast not that long ago for young male entrepreneurs. And the guy was like, hey, I really hear what you're coming from. I know you did all those years of eating shit that no one talks about. And so for all the audience that just wants to like shortcut all that, what's your advice? And I was like, you'll never beat me because you're not willing to do it. And so I think that the biggest deficiency that people have is their expectations. And so because we have these very lofty expectations, everyone's trying to become a millionaire in 90 days. When if I were to get you to sign a contract that says, I promise you'll be a millionaire in 5 years, but you won't learn anything for 5 years until you become a millionaire, would you be willing to sign it? Most people say they would, but they don't live like they would. And I promise you that if you live like you would, you'll hit it. But everyone just starts over every 90 days thinking that this is going to be the thing, when you could have just had that slow gradient that will get you there eventually. So I'd rather get rich for sure than get rich quick.
So
the best part about all this,
he said, all right, in the beginning of it, what did he say, right?
Doing the boring things.
Do the boring work and outwork your self-doubt, right? Confidence, conviction, like all these things come from doing something so many, is what he said, so many fucking times that you just kind of, you know what I mean? So like when it's so something I love mentioning too, like when I hear certain people say, oh bro, I've been doing this for 2 years, 2.5 years. Like, again, like I feel like, again, these are, it's not all the time where I hear that, but when I hear that, I'm like, I kind of like think of myself, and it's like, well, in my 3rd year was when things really started to happen to me. So I can't help but really think and like see it as like, dude, this is about to start, like really, you're about to start really realizing and understanding why it took this long for you to start getting the results that you wanted. So I'm just like, I in my head, but obviously I tell them, I'm just like, I was just like, your 3rd year's your year. Like I know it, like this is it, like for because that's what it was for me. It was like the first 2.5 years were like just an emotional roller coaster, like gambling mentality, like no risk management, consistency, discipline. It was just gambling. And like, yeah, you can make money gambling, right? But like, it's not consistent. It's not consistent. You need a system, you need a strategy, you need a plan, action. And again, most people don't give themselves a few years of doing that to get the results that they want, right? Think, oh, a week, 2 weeks. Like, no, it's years. It's years of
Yeah.
doing that. So it's like if you haven't done years of that, I don't know. I just feel like it comes after doing that, because I know for me and talking to other people who've really gotten their system down is it was, the people who started with the system, like I know a lot of, I don't know if it's again a lot of girls who just right off the bat they get introduced, like I'm like, how, like you're so like disciplined and consistent, like it's wild. Like me and some of my boys when we started, we were just reckless. Like you started off and it's, like I was like, you're probably the girl in school who like gave me like who helped me with my homework or like gave me the answers and stuff. You're just so organized and consistent. So it really is just getting organized and consistent.
Yeah.
And those were some things that for me, for the first few years, it was just something that I didn't have until it got so painful that I had no other option. It's like, yo, it's either you change the way you do things or like it's just gonna be a downward spiral. Like this, like you see the way, but you have to go. Like you have to go, you have to like let go of the way you're doing things. You have to start doing things a certain way. So yeah, like I feel like, yeah, like having that system, like things can't be random. Like you have to track everything. And
I think the like the system that keeps you, my belief, the system that keeps you like in your, for your example, let's say that pushed you through those 2.5 years. It's like, I'm sure there was painful moments throughout that whole thing where you were like, fuck, like this is really, a painful process. Like this one hurts my being, hurts my emotions, hurts, and so the fear starts coming in because pain is something that we relate to the fear of loss. And so we avoid painful moments by avoiding loss. And so we are programmed from birth to biologically to avoid loss. Okay. And so to avoid pain. But now, if we say pain equals anxiety, stress, fear, then you're right. But I think plugging in this formula instead, pain plus reflection equals progress, is way more it's more productive and may not be like the prettiest thing. That's the reality of it. But when you switch your expectation from what am I going to get from this to what am I becoming here, what can I become from this, is such a switch from seeking the result to understanding the process. And so when you start plugging in that formula, and I have faith that a lot of you are going to go and apply this formula to your day-to-day routines. I promise you, if you go from focusing so much on your failures in an aspect of a lacking of your results to a going from your failures and pushing those into a sense of reflection for you to gain something from that moment, you see, because every failure is an opportunity to gain a lesson or a value from that experience. It is our only stepping stool, right, to move forward when there's no results, when there's no, it is our only way to gain value, motivation, inspiration, to keep pushing forward. It is the one thing that you will consistently gain throughout your process, whether you're winning or losing, whether you made a mistake or made the best business deal of your life, is if you consistently push yourself, if you consistently push yourself to do that, you will, I promise you, personally, if you consistently push yourself to add that formula to reflect upon your mistakes instead of shaming yourself for them, it is the most constructive thing that you can do to your business, to your discipline, to your trading if you're a trader. Because that's the main thing that you can go off of. Being out there in the business world will expose you for who you truly are, whether it is through lack of income or an over amount of income or an abundance of income. It's what Matthew says. It's your patience when you have nothing and how humble you stay when you have everything, when you have it all. It all goes back to that. And so being patient, reflecting on that. When I was doing that chart, if you guys haven't seen it, go back and review the recording. But it's going back to that chart. How long you don't see those results is how long you could be just reflecting upon your mistakes. And so what you do with those mistakes is really going to predetermine how long you are in that phase of no results, of not seeing the results that you want, is what you actually do with those failures. So
I think,
do you have anything you want to add?
yeah, like you said, it really is like who we're becoming. You know, it's like someone gets a job, right? It's like people like, what am I earning here? Again, this is Jim Rohn, right? When like if I don't remember his exact words, but it's like, well, a lot of people will be like, you know, let's focus on what they're earning there instead of like what they're becoming there. So I feel like the journey is what builds your character. Like if you want to see yourself as something like a character in a video game that levels up, like your experiences on these different levels, these different tests or quests, whatever challenges, right? Like to level up, you got to experience challenges, right? Like
Yeah.
you're gonna that's what builds your character along the way. So I feel like it's like the unavoidable things on your journey of success. So it's like really who we are becoming. I've we are trading coaches, you know, psychology, you know, coaches, all that stuff as well. But you know, a lot of times it's like therapy, you know, because like you have conversations and people will tell you what's wrong or what they need, and it's really the polar opposite of their problems is the solution. Like you have all the answers that you're looking for. If you say you're impatient,
Wow.
you gotta
That's so
practice
powerful.
patience. You know, if you say you're over trading, you gotta just follow a plan. Like, you know, if you feel like anything, like it's just the polar opposite. Like feel disappointed, be grateful for certain things. You know what I mean? Like it helps. It really does help with the shift in energy, especially when it comes to the patience thing, because it's like a lot of people want $1 million, but like who really wants to become a millionaire first? You know, who really wants to develop those character traits of having that mindset of like of really wanting something but being detached from it because you're so focused on the process of actually enjoying what it takes to get it, so that you're not just left empty when you receive it, that you actually enjoy the process along the way, so that when you get it, you're super grateful and you just love what you did so much that it's just a byproduct of what you enjoy doing, that you just keep getting these things that come from doing it. So that's what Alex said as well, is like that gets you signed a contract that to guarantee that you'll become a millionaire in 5 years or 10 years, but you won't get the $1 million until you became a millionaire. Like most people would sign it, but most people wouldn't do it because you have to go through those challenges. I feel like I've never met any successful individual who's made millions or anything who didn't experience stuff that most people would like just say fuck this, like
Yeah.
you know what I mean, like I'm talking like real losses. They say bosses take losses, like it's so true. Like I've met people who have lost people's dream like income, you know what I mean, like for lifetimes, and like they lost everything and then they came back and then like, boom, like what the heck, like most people, like, you're either like, it builds you along the way. You know, like they talk about, you know, like bodybuilders, right? I got my boy Ulysses on this call. He's in good shape, you know. I think he could be a
Yeah,
really good coach,
he
right?
is
So
in good
like,
shape.
he's,
Man, it's
yeah,
good
he
pick.
looks amazing, right? So like, he's like, you know, with muscles, right? Like they break, in order to grow, they got to break down, right? So I feel like us, like it's literally yin yang. Like, in order for you to experience a certain level of success, you have to experience a certain amount of similar experiences on the polar opposite, right? Which is losing. And the thing about winners is that they don't avoid losing; they accept it as a part of the process, right? And that's the difference, is implementing what risk to reward and just taking massive action.
Yep.
Because just like how Bash was talking about the sales opportunity, I won't get too much into some of the businesses that, you know, like I'm invested in and stuff, but yeah, hundreds of calls, only a couple qualified leads, and then how many deals actually fall through? One, two out of what, hundreds, thousands? Like, but it's a numbers game. The
Mhm.
thing, it's a numbers game. So when you let the numbers do the work, you allow yourself to take yourself out of the equation, and especially your emotions. You allow yourself to see things from a third person perspective. Like, I was you know, I had a poker night, and you know, I was playing some of my boys, or even playing blackjack. We're talking about like psychology and like all these things, and it's like not identifying yourself, not being so into like, you know, like it's kind of like micromanaging your trade. Like, oh fuck, like you feel like you're the candlestick moving. You know what I mean? Like, you want to like allow yourself to see that it is outside of you, and you can't control it, and you
Yeah.
let go and you let God. You know what I mean? Like, there's only one way to find out. And me and how I like, it's gonna play out however it's gonna play out. Because as long as after we tap the button, there's no going back. After you make a decision and you take action on something, there's no
Yeah.
going back. You have to
Facts.
be fully committed to that. And the thing that kills success, or like that just hurts, is when you go back on decisions that you made instead of seeing it through, because you won't really figure out if you're right or wrong unless you are put yourself out there to be vulnerable, and like to really just allow yourself to be wrong. You know what I mean? Like, that's really what it is. So I feel like the most successful
Mm.
people are just people who've accepted losing and who have failed more than others are willing to try. So
Like that one guy said, you know, the more you're willing to fuck around,
the more you're gonna find out.
the more you're gonna find
The more
out.
you fuck around, the more you find out. You know, let's draw the little chart again. Is the more you fuck around, the more you find out. And what I feel like is so key is having is the people along the journey.
Yeah.
It's the most important thing in my life are the people in my life.
Yeah.
100%. The most valuable things in my life are the people in my life. And on your journey, the things that make it worth it are 100,000% the people along the journey. Because
All the
guess what? It's like, yeah,
sorry.
no,
No,
go ahead.
all the people that leave, just to add that comment, it's like
Yeah.
yeah, all the people that you meet along the way, but also it's cool like all the people that you detox from your life. It's or that detox from your life by you
It's like,
just
it's what Snoop Dogg said, right? It's like you're closing your it's called the gap. As you continue to grow your character, like you're just like the things you value, like as you become more valuable, like things that don't align with you, that don't resonate with you, like it just falls off. Like it just falls off as you go up. You know, it's like imagine a rocket ship just taking off, and there's someone on the outside holding on to the rocket ship, and like they wanted to get in, but like they didn't want to build the rocket ship with you. That's obviously gonna like you're gonna and they're just gonna fly off. Hopefully they have a hopefully they have the parachute, you know. But
yeah.
like 100%, I agree 100%. But it's like, you know, if you really have people in your life that want to build that rocket ship with you, want to do everything to, you know, support you and to be there with you to really send it, I feel like those are really the people that matter, you know, for sure. Because like, yeah, if you didn't have any of the success you're looking for, those are the people that would still be there with you, rocking with you, no matter what, to get you to where you want to go. Not say, oh, you're cool the way you are. No, they see you for where you're going and they want to help you get there. Right? Nobody got time to be the same person we were last year or the year before that. Like we're becoming, right? It's who we're becoming. If we want to become more successful, we have to become a person that's has more value, or the person that just becomes a better version of themselves. And that's all I want to be surrounded by. I know that's all you guys want to be surrounded by. And yeah, we're just really grateful to be here. You know, the conversations that we have, you know, all of you guys reaching out, like we encourage you guys to keep reaching out, because obviously you're here because, you know, we resonate on certain things. And, you know, I could learn so much from you guys because I have been. And it's wild because I feel like every conversation I have with someone, I'm obviously looking to add as much as I can, but it's so wild how the universe works that you gain so much value from that conversation. Like you gain so much value by actually willing to give. So I feel like an important question also to ask yourself, because I think we're gonna wrap this up here soon, is like, what do you want, right? But what are you willing to give in order to experience it, right? What do you want and what are you willing to give, right? Like if, and honestly, let's forget about what you even want really quick. It's like serving others, like your patience when you have everything, and your patience when you have nothing, your humility when you have everything, because you're always going to be you and you're always going to be evolving. The only thing that changes is what the material things, right? The number in your bank account, like those things, yeah, they change, but it's like you will always be you. And like I feel like it's important, your core values and principles, no matter what it is you make or all these things, at the core of who you are, like that's the most valuable thing, is like who you are truly. Because money and all these things, I truly believe money is the lowest form of success, right? Like anybody can make money, like making, like just like anybody could take a trade, anybody could tap a button. Like it's true, anybody can make money, anybody could, you know, sell this, sell that, say they're this or whatever it is, or anybody could clock in and, you know, get paid this. But like you, like what kind of value do you bring when someone, you see someone who's in need, right? What you have, or you're humble enough to ask for help, right? Because there's so much I want to say, but we don't have that much time. Yeah, what do you want? But most importantly, what are you willing to give, right? Because I feel like there's not only just myself from experience, but so many others, like serve even when you have nothing, right? Like that's what shows,
especially when you have nothing.
Yeah, like are you, right? Like literally, like you're always going to be you. So even if when you have nothing, like how willing are you to serve? Because it's, if not, then it's conditional, you know, like oh, only if I have this and I'll serve when I have this. But it's like no,
love can be conditional.
Yeah, it's like goes back to just, you have to be that person, do the things, instead of like, no, I need to have this so I could do this and then be this. It's like, no, be that person now. Like if you, all the things that you say you want, what if you have those right now? How would you be? What would you do? Right? Like really ask yourself that. Like if you had everything you were looking to get to experience right now, the consistent profitability, withdrawals hidden, right? Whatever it is, like how, like what would you do? What would you do? And let's do more of that. You know, talking to myself as well. It's like let's do more of that, because the time will always be now, right? So what are we gonna do now? All right.
I like that. Thank you, brother. I appreciate you sharing your thoughts, and thank you guys all for being on this call, for our live Q&A call. You know, we appreciate you guys being on here. I'm going to drop a link in the chat so you guys have to access either myself or Matthew. Both, if you click on that link, both of our link trees are going to be there, and you can access both of our Instagrams and Telegrams through it. You can always message us, reach out to us, and you know, we'll be accessible through that link as well. We'll make it more accessible for you, anybody, to reach us and you know, give us feedback, comments, observations that you may have, or breakthroughs that you may have experienced throughout the calls. And you know, we appreciate you guys' time and energy so much, that you guys come. And I see some names that are here week after week. I get messages every week that, you know, giving us feedback on our calls, and I cannot be any more grateful for those individuals and for those of you who take the time to tune in. We appreciate you guys truly. Thank you guys for always being consistent to yourself, and you know, go out there and thank yourself. Thank yourself for showing up. Thank yourself for experiencing this moment. Thank yourself for coming across this call. Thank yourself for lining yourself up with this level of vibration that surrounded you with individuals that are on the same way to where you guys are going. And honestly, guys, I appreciate you guys so much for your energy. Thank you guys for sharing the information. Go out there and be great. Go out there and win. Go out there and have your small wins for today. Remember, live today like there's no tomorrow, because honestly, that's the biggest illusion that we have. All right. So with that, guys, I'm gonna let Matthew wrap it up, brother, if you don't mind doing that outro.
I sure will. Guys, again, we're super grateful to be here. Thank you again, Bash, bro, for everything. Everybody, you know, for the opportunity, you know, allowing us to be here. You know, let's continue to to be great. You know, let's continue to, you know, graciously give and willing, yeah, just willingly give and graciously receive. You know, let's go out there and willingly give. And the littlest things, like, you have no idea how much that can mean to anybody. And the littlest things in your life, water, anything, right? Just graciously receive it. You know, take time to, you know, thank God, the universe, you know, everything. Because there's just so much to be grateful for. We're so blessed. So many, you know, different parts of the world that don't even have internet connection to tune into any information like this, or even clean water, right? So again, guys, you know, as always, you know, it's a pleasure, it's an honor. You know, we really want to remind you that you can literally be, do, and have whatever it is that you want, right? Remember, you do not need to have something in order to do something so that you can finally be something. All you got to do is just be that person who does the things that person does, and you will continue to experience everything that person has, right? So that being said, as always, right, we're sending y'all waves of peace, love, abundance, and creativity. Y'all clap easy. And yeah, we'll talk to you guys soon. Peace.
Peace. Take care, guys.